Previously in Starlight Exodus.
Right! Let's not waste any more time. Get that laser cutter ready.
Jean and Simon, along with other civilians who had been rescued from the temporary shelter station, were relocated to Tharsis, the fourth largest city on Mars. Life had changed drastically for Jean and Simon, and every day they found themselves glued to the news, following updates on the ongoing war against the giant monster crabs that had wreaked havoc across the Martian colonies. One afternoon, as they were sitting together in a crowded mess hall, the door slid open, and Captain George, a tall, imposing figure in his late 40s, approached them. His face, though stern, carried a hint of warmth.
You too. How are you holding up?
We're fine. Have they wiped out the monster crabs yet?
The captain let out a small chuckle, though his eyes betrayed the gravity of the situation.
Not yet, I'm afraid. There's still a lot of work to be done, but that's not why I'm here. I've heard your story, how you two ended up here on Mars, the risks you took to survive. You're both smart, resourceful, and brave. That's why I'm here to offer you an opportunity.
The boys' expressions shifted from curiosity to awe as they listened.
I'd like to recommend you both for an early military training program here on Mars. You've shown remarkable potential, and we could use minds like yours in the future. The military can be your family now. So, what do you say?
Jean and Simon stared at Captain George, speechless, their hearts racing with excitement and uncertainty. The thought of joining the fight against the monstrous invaders was both terrifying and thrilling. After a moment, they nodded, unable to find the words, but knowing this was an opportunity they couldn't refuse. Jean and Simon stood in front of the massive gates of the Tharsis Military Academy. The massive structure loomed over them, casting long shadows against the reddish Martian landscape. Around them, recruits of young ages were being ushered into formation, each one preparing to face the same learnings and trials that lay ahead for the boys. Inside, the academy was a whirlwind of activity. Training simulators hummed, soldiers marched in sync, and instructors barked orders. For Jean and Simon, this was a new world, one filled with discipline, challenge, and the looming threat of battle.
Do you think we're really ready for this?
Jean stared up at the ceiling, the weight of Simon's words pressing down on him.
I don't know. But we've made it this far. We can't back down now. We have to do this, for everyone who didn't make it.
Simon nodded quietly, his determination growing stronger. Together, they knew they would face whatever horrors awaited them, just as they always had. The war was far from over. Reports from the front lines continued to show an unrelenting tide of monster crabs surfacing from hidden underground waters, and the situation was growing more dire by the day. The Martian military had declared a brief victory. Columns of armored vehicles rolled back to the fortified cities, equipped with plasma cannons, stood on guard at every perimeter. Above, drones buzzed through the thin atmosphere, constantly scanning the surface for any remaining threats. The colonies breathed a tentative sigh of relief, but tension lingered in every hallway and conference room. The room hummed with energy, holographic maps of Mars' subsurface rotating midair as several researchers clustered around. The tension in the room was palpable. The crabs, massive and resilient, had thrown the entire planet into chaos, but the threat might not be over yet. Dr. Karen Halls, a renowned geologist, stood by a display showing a detailed map of the Martian underground. Her voice shook slightly as she continued her explanation.
The Elysium Mons eruption has opened more than just lava channels, the valleys and outflow channels. They've tapped into something ancient. The Palea Ocean, buried for eons, could be exposed. And with it, the life forms that once thrived there. These giant crabs may only be the beginning.
Dr. Dave Brin, an astrobiologist, leaned forward, eyes wide with disbelief.
But the paleo-ocean is entombed miles beneath the surface. Even if earthquakes and eruptions triggered shifts in the Martian crust, we're talking about water reservoirs that shouldn't be accessible under normal conditions. These creatures, if they came from there, what forced them to the surface?
Dr. Halls glanced at a nearby display showing seismographic activity.
The earthquake wasn't natural, at least, not entirely. The seismic data suggests something else shifted the Martian crust from below. It's almost as if...
She paused, hesitating.
As if what?
As if something down there wanted out.
The room fell into silence. The implications hung heavy in the air. High-ranking officials gathered around a large circular table, their faces illuminated by the red glow of a holographic map depicting the damage across Mars. Governor Mullig, the leader of the Martian colonies, stared at the map with intense focus.
The military might have pushed the crabs back, but they keep coming. Our sensors detect movements underground. We need answers, and we need them fast.
Commander Zane Morris, the Martian military commander, stood rigidly, his face a mask of determination.
Governor, we've deployed our advanced weaponry, but for now we can truly explore beneath the waters. It's too dangerous. Based on the latest reports from the research team, it's possible that we may encounter a much more dangerous ancient life forms that have survived beneath the Martian surface for who knows how long.
The governor frowned, leaning forward.
If that's true, we need a new strategy. This isn't just a war for survival anymore. This is about understanding the forces that are unleashed.
Dr. Halls and Dr. Brin continued their investigation, their curiosity now tinged with fear. The data suggested something unsettling, patterns of movement beneath the crust, far too large and complex to be just a colony of giant crabs moving.
Dave, look at this. These patterns. They're moving towards the northern hemisphere. Whatever it is, it's massive.
We have to find a way to explore the paleo-ocean before it reaches us.
But it's too dangerous. The crabs are likely just the beginning. If there's something else down there, something worse, it could wipe us out before we even get the chance to study it.
A sudden alarm blared through the research center. The two scientists frowned, exchanging glances before rushing to the nearest communication terminal. The screen blinks on, revealing an urgent message from the Martian military.
Alert! Multiple seismic readings near Elysiumens. Massive underground movement detected. Prepare for evacuation.
Dr. Brin's hands trembled as he read the message.
It's already happening.
Far to the north of Elysium Mons, the ground trembled beneath a small Martian outpost. Outside, researchers and military personnel scrambled to secure equipment as the ground buckled beneath them. Suddenly, the earth erupted, and out came a creature far larger than anything seen before. A titanic beast with serrated limbs and glowing, bioluminescent eyes. It moved with terrifying precision, as if it had been waiting for this moment for millennia. The monster roared, its sound echoing across the barren landscape, and the personnel could only watch in horror as the ground beneath their feet began to crack open further, revealing an ancient, primordial world below, one that was ready to reclaim the surface. Dr. Halls and Dr. Brin watched the footage in shock. The screen showed the massive creature advancing toward the outpost, its sheer size dwarfing even the Martian mechs.
This is it! The nightmare we feared!
The paleo-ocean has woken up, and it's bringing its nightmares with it.
The scientists exchanged one last look before the screen cut to static, and the alarms blared throughout the colony. The war for Mars was only just beginning,